Welcome again. We're going to take a look at parallelogram rectangles. This is a really quick, short lesson and basically just a recap. So we have parallelograms. Now here are the characteristics of a parallelogram, which need to be learned best through practice and applying the definition rather than just studying these tidbits right here. Opposite sides are parallel, hence the name parallelogram. So here's my opposite sides, they're all parallel. And I'm also going to have congruency, so these sides are going to be congruent. Opposite angles are going to be congruent. Here's my opposites. Remember, they're not touching, they're on the opposite sides. When I tell you to sit opposite, you're facing the other person. And consecutive, which means side by side, are going to add up to 180. So these are going to be supplemental right here. The diagonals, they'll bisect each other. They are not congruent. And that's a really big curve. Doesn't really look like a good diagonal, does it? And what we have is we have congruent triangles. This triangle right here, I'll draw it in green, is congruent to the other triangle. Boy, did I just butcher all my drawing, but that's the way it is some days. So let's take a look at rectangles. Rectangles have all the same properties, except now the diagonals are going to be congruent. So these diagonals will be congruent. They're going to be the same because look, this is standing straight up and down. These lines travel the same distance. And of course they all have right angles. So let's take a look at our first example. Given a parallelogram, so we're going to use some properties that we know. Well, looking at this, we know that opposite angles are congruent, so I can just set 5y is equal to 60. 5y is equal to 60. And that's going to give y is equal to 12. Yippee-yay. So look, I put in a 12 right here. 12 times 5 is 60. All right. We know that same side interior for parallel lines is supplementary. So same side is supplementary. So I'm just going to have 3x plus 60 is equal to 180. Or basically this whole thing is equal to 120. Because I just subtracted. All right. So I got 3x is equal to 60 and x is equal to 20. Okay? So 20, that's 60 plus 60. So you know this has to be 120. That has to be 60, so on. Now, given parallel lines, alternate interior angles are congruent. We have parallel lines here. Let's go ahead and start with this parallel line here. All right, see these parallel lines? We have this angle and this angle are congruent. Now these two angles don't play with these two parallel lines, they play with the other ones. So all I do is I could set x plus y is equal to 20. That ain't going to get me anywhere. So I'm going to have to take a look at these parallel lines. I guess I could have drawn it in the same way. Where 2x is equal to 24, so x is equal to 12. I take that 12, plug it right in here. So I got 12 plus y is equal to 20. So 12 plus y is equal to 20. And y is equal to 8. So that's just one of the properties of how we can break things up. Parallel lines and a transversal, we have certain properties. Alternate interior angles are congruent. Now remember, these purple ones go with the purple parallel lines, and the green ones go with the green parallel lines. Given a rectangle, which has all the properties of parallelogram, plus we have 90-degree angles, and our diagonals are congruent. They're bisected and they're congruent. So the whole thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to start figuring things out. First of all, since these are congruent, we can figure out what x is. We have 2x plus 12 is equal to 36. Okay? So 2x is equal to 24 and x is equal to 12. We made nice easy numbers because we don't want the algebra to get in the way with learning the definitions at start. Then we have, of course, a right angle right here. That means angle addition postulate, these two things added together equal to the big angle. So we have 3y plus 21 plus 39 is equal to 90. Okay? So that's 40, 50, 60. So 3y is equal to 30. I just subtracted 60 on both sides. Y is equal to 10. So I plug in 10 right here. This whole thing right here is 51. Right here. All right. So those were 3 quick examples of what's going on here. And that's the best way to review your definitions. All right, 5 minutes, done.